I think Canada is well positioned for a post-Paris global economy. If you take a look at us today, for example, look at the generation of electricity in Canada, about 80% of that is from non-emission producing sources. Also, these new developments in technology that we're seeing today are going to be very much resource intensive. It's going to mean then for Canada's mining sector there are great opportunities. If you look at an electric car, it uses about 4 times as much copper as a non-electric car does. Similarly, many of the new technologies are going to require metals and other minerals that Canada produces that will be very beneficial to the Canadian sector. And then finally, if you look at Canada, the whole of the energy sector in Canada and the resources sector in general is Canada's high-tech sector. It's something we do well. These are opportunities that we have to commercialize technologies here and to sell them around the world. There are enormous opportunities for entrepreneurs in Canada. It's got to be a priority for us, obviously. If you look, for example, at the number of baby boomers who are passing out of the economy today, we're going to be finding businesses in Canada turning over very rapidly with a whole new generation of entrepreneurs coming in. If you look at young people who are in school today, a very high percentage of them will be working in jobs that don't even exist today, where we can't even describe what it is that they're going to be doing. That's going to require entrepreneurial skills, and it's going to require a range of talents that people must have to be able to be successful. And for Canadians as a whole, the entrepreneurial sector is the most Canadian sector of our economy. It needs to be a priority for government, and it creates more benefits for Canadians across the board as you see new businesses being created and as you see people with the engagement in the community, employing local people, getting engaged in community events, and creating opportunities for our future. To me, sustainability means living within our means in terms of the environment. For too long, it was possible for us to simply spend our environment in favor of economic development. Now we realize that we're living in what's a closed system, that if we damage the environment, if we waste our resources, we are going to pay a very high price for that in the future. This means if we're serious about sustainability, that we need to build in at the front end an understanding of what are the impacts on our environment, how can we have economic development, while at the same time either improving our environment or at least not doing damage to it. Well, the first thing is clearly the speed with which we need to bring these new technologies in. Developing the technologies is very expensive. You look at the hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars that Canadian energy companies have poured into R&D. This is just the beginning, and much more needs to be done. The question then is, how do we roll these out of the lab and actually implement them? Once we're able to commercialize these technologies, put them in place, we have an opportunity to recover a lot of the investment that we've put into it. For example, if we're looking at technologies that minimize the amount of water that is used in the oil sands, these technologies are going to be useful in other areas around the world, not simply in the energy sector, but in other areas as well. So there are great opportunities for us as well in this area. The other is that people think in terms of a disruptive technology where suddenly the whole world is different. We also have to look at incremental improvements as well. What we're seeing across the board in Canada, and particularly in our energy sector, is a fast-paced improvement in technology that continues to build upon what we have today. If we can continue that, what we can do is to make very significant impacts in terms of how we improve our environmental performance. This is an incredibly exciting time to be a Canadian, and when I look at young Canadians today and the opportunities they're going to have for the future, it's something that is enormously exciting and inspirational. If you were looking at how would I want to describe Canada's economy in the future, I want to see us being the most innovative and progressive in terms of the skills that we have in Canada of any country anywhere in the world. At the end of the day, it's not simply the resources or the capital you have, it's the people who make the difference. And what we can do in Canada is to prepare a whole new generation of Canadians to be the most skilled anywhere in the world, to be entrepreneurial and innovative, and to build an economy that is even greater than the one that we've been privileged to enjoy during our lifetimes.